We're going to move on and talk about Liverpool, Pete. Now, of course, at the weekend, there was a tense moment between Mo Salah and Jurgen Klopp. What does this mean for Salah's future? I know we discussed this last week about him going forwards. And what do you make of the incident?
Yeah, the incident, it wasn't a good look. I think it was just frustration, probably from both parties. Frustration from Mo Salah, obviously, that he wasn't starting the game, because we know how determined he is to play every single game. He wants to score goals. He wants to finish top goal scorer in the Premier League, win golden boots. So there'll be frustration from him in that respect, and probably frustration from Jurgen Klopp of how Liverpool's season's fizzled out. Obviously, they were in that title race up until a couple of weeks ago, and obviously they've dropped out of it, and it looks like third place is the best that they can achieve right now. So I just think it was down to frustration. I think obviously because it was between two big characters, it's maybe been blown out of proportion as well. I don't think it's going to have any effect on Salah's future at Liverpool going forward, because one of the protagonists in that argument was Jurgen Klopp's leaving the club. So it's a clean slate for everybody next season, with Arne Slot coming in as well. And maybe if Jurgen Klopp was remaining at Liverpool, maybe Mo Salah might not have done what he did and refused his handshake and everything afterwards as well, because he knows that Jurgen Klopp would still be at the club next season. But I just think it's maybe the frustration of what's happened with maybe Salah's own form as well. Recently, he's really dropped off, and the frustration of Liverpool's missed opportunities in this title race has maybe just boiled over, and that was the outcome of it on Saturday.
Paul, one thing to mention, we've discussed the fans' perspective on Slot, talking of managers. What do you think the players will be saying about Slot, and how do you think their feelings and thoughts will be going into the summer with a manager like him coming in?
You don't know, do you? I mean, it's an unknown quantity. As players, you're quite often kept in the dark, and you don't know who's coming in. But for the Liverpool players, they know who their new manager is. You obviously hear things on the grapevine. Players speak to other players, and you get to hear what managers are like. We're not privy to that from the outside in the media. You listen, and you build up an impression by what you hear and what you gain from others who have been close to that person, or players in the dressing room. And Liverpool players, listen, it's a fresh start for everybody. Nobody's guaranteed to play. We don't know who's going to be there next year. We've spoken about Mo Salah. You look at the age of Van Dijk. You look at the opportunity that this is their last chance to sell Salah. Does Salah actually want to go this year? There's another twist on that, actually, because if Mo Salah doesn't go this year, that 100 million will then get put into his wages in 12 months' time. Rather than the Saudis having to pay 100 million transfer fee for him, all of a sudden his wages are maximised in 12 months' time. So does Mo Salah see an opportunity to stay at Liverpool for 12 months, not re-signing, and then taking that bigger wages in Saudi? There's a possibility of that. Players with a new manager, it's the unknown. For me, you look at it, and I think he's proved that he's a lot better manager than Erik ten Hag in the Dutch league, but the Dutch league is considerably weaker than the Premier League. You only have to see what Ten Hag's done at Manchester United or hasn't done. The lack of recruitment there, and the team that Ten Hag actually inherited at Ajax, it wasn't his building. When he did sign players, he left to go to Manchester United. He inherited a very good squad at Ajax, where the difference with Slot is he's created a team at Feyenoord. He's signed players. He's got them playing in a certain way. I certainly don't think he's going to be Arnie 10 Slot, put it that way. I think he'll be an improvement on Ten Hag. But it's still a big jump from the Eredivisie to the Premier League, and he himself has got a lot to prove. But he seems the type of character, without knowing him, speaks very well in the public, holds himself very well in the press conference. Players speak very highly of him, and he talks in a way where you expect good things from him. But it's a big test for him.
Pete, are we expecting Arne Slot to be using those Dutch links and targeting players from the Eredivisie, specifically Feyenoord, I mean, you'd say? And are there any names, please, that we could mention that look like could be targeted going into the summer for Liverpool?
Yeah, it's a typical scenario when a new manager comes in. He normally goes back to his old club. It's maybe potentially to bring some new signings in. In all fairness, Jurgen Klopp didn't do that at Borussia Dortmund. When he left to come to Liverpool, he didn't bring any of his old Borussia Dortmund players in. I'm sure Arne Slot, when he does get confirmed as Liverpool manager, he will give it the summer. He will evaluate that squad along with Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, the new sporting director. They will see what Liverpool are looking for. Obviously, every summer transfer window, players come and go. So there will probably be replacements needed at Anfield this summer as well. obviously these managers do like to go to their old clubs and sign players that they've worked with before. They know they can trust them. They can know his style of play and quickly implement that into what he wants to do at Anfield. So there's a couple of names. Mats Wiefer, the centre midfielder, is a name that is somebody that could be on Liverpool's radar. He was looked at by Liverpool and several other Premier League clubs before this potential Slot move to Anfield anyway. So defensive midfielder who's probably going to be playing for the Netherlands at the Euros as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares there in that one. Also, then there was obviously speculation over Luis Charles Gertruda, who was pictured at.
You've been practicing that this morning, Pete. Did you practice that before we came on?
I had a good go at that in the mirror earlier, Paul. So came out quite well. So yeah, it won't be hopefully commentator's nightmare for that one. But he was pictured at West Ham's game against Liverpool at the weekend, just to fuel speculation. Again, he's another trusted lieutenant of Slot. He's been captain at Feyenoord. He can play centre back. He can play right back. So again, he would tick a lot of boxes for Liverpool if they were to do that, because he would obviously improve their defensive options. And centre back is going to be an area of the team that Liverpool will look at this season, at this summer transfer window, with Joel Matip looking like he's going to leave on a free transfer when his contract expires. So it's a typical story. Managers do like to sign players that they've previously worked with, because it obviously makes life for them a bit easier in the dressing room, because they've got players that they know and they can trust. And I think Liverpool and the recruitment team will be looking at some of those players that find out, but I don't think it's a given that any of them will sign, because they'll only sign the players that they feel will improve the squad, and there'll be a lot of options for Liverpool this summer on what they want to do in that summer transfer window.
And on a different piece of news, Pete, sounds like Jurgen might be returning back to Borussia Dortmund in 2025. Is there any validity in that claim? Could we see him return as manager potentially, or in a different role? What's the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah, there's been a few reports in Germany suggesting that Jurgen Klopp could return to Dortmund, not in a managerial role, but as a head of football. So he'd almost be recruitment and head of football operations. I don't see that myself. I don't see Jurgen Klopp moving into that type of role. If he is to come back into football, I think it'll be back into the management side of things. But just looking at him, he looks like a man who does need a break. He's obviously admitted himself that the energy in the battery is running low, and that's the main reason why he is leaving Liverpool before his contract expires as well. So again, I think Jurgen Klopp will take this time off that's coming his way after this season. Will look to refresh and recharge the battery, and he won't be short of offers. There's no doubt about that, because once we get next season underway and there's managerial jobs come up, Premier League, abroad, Jurgen Klopp's probably going to be the first name on a lot of people's list to try and get him in, because of what he's done at Dortmund, what he's done at Liverpool. His legacy is definitely there. He's a top-class manager. So again, I think it'll be on Jurgen Klopp's terms what he wants to do, if he wants to have a longer break or if he wants to return to management. And I think he's been a great advert for the Premier League. I think we'd all love to see him back in football. He's obviously said he won't come back to the Premier League because of his loyalty to Liverpool. So, but maybe that Germany national team job could be something that would tick boxes for him as well. But when you look in the years to come, if Real Madrid are looking at replacing for Carlo Ancelotti, he could be the perfect fit for them. If Bayern Munich are looking somebody long term as well, I'm sure they would look at him.
Any reason that Xavi stayed another year at Barcelona as well?
There's also that.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.